on December 24th, 2019, a Ryanair plane was flying. The flight number was Ryanair Line Flight 380. It was new to the Ryanair fleet, and didn't know where its airport was, so they just flew blindly. Then they used the autopilot and figured out that they decided to use the autopilot to find out which airport they were supposed to go to, and they figured out it was actually the mountains. But suddenly, the plane had overcome a structural failure. And because of that structural failure, the plane now had to do an emergency landing. The plane, even though they were close to the airport, the pilot said, "We aren't going to make it there." But actually turned out the only reason why they didn't go to the airport was there were planes on the runway. Ryanair Flight 380 was now lost its service door. And the pilot said, "Let's try to land at this runway." But they didn't realize that could be a mistake or not. They were dropping very quickly, and surprisingly, they pulled up at the last minute. They pulled up at the last minute saying, "Yeah, we weren't able to make it." "Well, there's only one thing left to do," said the pilot. "What's that?" said the co-pilot. "We need to land in the water." "Okay. But I think there could be another airport on this side of the island. We'll see, and if not, and if we can't make it land there, we'll have to do a water landing." "All right," said the co-pilot. Ever since that ejection door fell off, that led to the electric technologies to fail. But the pilot and the co-pilot did their best to get to the airport as fast as they could. Soon, the pilots of Ryanair Flight 380 had found some lights, and they knew that was an airport. We're almost there. Pilot, just got to pull the gear out now. All right. The gear was now pulled out, and the auto brakes were being used as well. But they decided not to use the auto brakes, and they pulled up the landing gear. But they would pull out the landing gear again for when they were closer to the runway. The plane was getting closer and closer to the runway. There were more than 5,000 occupants on the plane. I think that was way more than Qantas Airlines Flight 32. The plane was close to the runway, pulled out the landing gear, and surprisingly, did a butter landing. The plane surprisingly did a butter landing. And luckily, the Ryanair pilots had done a butter landing. That's really common with Ryanair airplanes. So the plane was now taxiing, and everybody was happy that they survived. There were only 29 injuries and 0 deaths. And this Ryanair flight was the greatest emergency landing in turboprop flight simulator history. It even beated a different Ryanair flight that surprisingly went underwater during its emergency landing. All 5,000 plus passengers had survived the crash. And the plane was now taxiing to let everybody off. The plane was now at its taxi mark and was the only plane at the runway. They were lucky that there was an airport. Hold on. Hold on. Well, the autopilot was not working for some strange reason. So now I have to go taxi. The plane had did its emergency landing and was now letting all the passengers off. And that was the terrific story of Ryanair Air Flight 380